He always seems to message Lisa instead of me. So then I'll find out for the next day, but I'll just amend it on the minutes.
Okay, I'd like to bring to order the November 6th, 2018 Natural Resources Board meeting. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
I'll have the roll call.
Ms. Mosblick,
Here.
Mr. Wolf,
Here.
Ms. Olson,
Here.
Mr. O'Neill.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, we have approval of last month's meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the motion has passed. Under announcements, we have open positions on the NRB, and we have a new member, which Ms. Hagler will be introducing.
All right. We have John Wolf, a new member, joins us from Wellington, where he served for 2 years on the tree board, which is our counterpart. And he's also a certified master gardener and salesman by trade. I think he has a lot to offer the board. Be excited. We also have 2 alternate positions available, but our regular positions are filled at the moment.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us.
Sure,
We
my
appreciate
pleasure.
your time.
Thank you.
All right, next announcement we have, and with regards to our members, we also have an excused absence. So we have Mr. Van Hoffman. Sorry, I probably should have put that on the roll call.
Mr. Gordian, I believe, is excused, and Mr. Van Hoffman is excused. Mr. Stadelman will have a late arrival.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then the next announcement for the Earth Day and Arbor Day 2018 celebration, we have the date of Saturday, April 27th secured for the Riverview Park. Okay, everyone make sure we put that in our calendars.
I'm sorry, say that again?
So it'll be Saturday, April 27th will be the meeting date. And I'm assuming that, Saturday. Okay. Anything under public input? Anyone wishing to speak? Okay, then we'll move on to new business. Under new business, we have our demonstration garden for our Florida-friendly garden, and we're looking for volunteers for the first work day.
We were able to partner with the Master Gardeners at our local extension. They helped develop a fantastic plan for all of the beds out here at City Hall. And we're going to start with a demolition day. We're going to remove all the invasives in there. They're going to take out a lot of the plants that are going to stay. They're going to take them out and give them TLC. So then it'll be a few weeks before we start installing things. So we're looking at November 17th. Of course, I'd love for the NRB to be represented at our work days for this.
Do we know what time? Is it in the morning?
8 a.m. tentatively.
Okay.
I've got a conflict that day.
Gotcha. I should be able to make that day. I should be around. So I plan on being there.
I'll plan on being there as well.
Is it a community event? Is it something, that others could bring my husband, family, or that kind of thing?
Absolutely. We have 3 other organizations that have reached out to us wanting to do this type of volunteer work. So Sebastian Junior Women's Club, there's actually a new Sebastian Garden Club, and the American Legion.
Okay.
So we'll be well represented.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next item for old business. We have the Sustainable Business Initiative. The outline was sent out to everyone. Mr. Wolf, hopefully you got it as well? Okay.
I saw it, yes.
And we have So 2 items here to kind of go over any edits that we may have had for the outline, the document that was sent around for comments and opened up for comments. And then to also try and decide on a name, so try and settle on something that we feel might represent the program.
I had submitted a name, and of course, I can't find my paperwork.
Let's see. Here.
Was it at the end?
The names are listed at the end
Okay.
on the second to last page.
So
But it was lagoon friendly with a tagline. Lagoon friendly business.
was that's the name or that's the tagline?
That would be the name. The tagline was, I can't find my paperwork, I'm sorry.
What page are they?
It's the last, so page 3,
Page 3.
on the bottom of page 3, yeah.
There you go.
We have three names there: Lagoon Friendly Business, Sustaining Natural Sebastian, and Sustainable Sebastian.
Can I steal it? Thank you.
I like the sustainable Sebastian. It's very succinct.
The reason that we had discussed lagoon-friendly business before was because there had been a brief survey done by one of the board members at an event that people did not understand sustainable business or sustainable Sebastian as just what that was. And there's so many problems with the lagoon, I thought it would be nice to tie it all in.
Okay, here's, I've got October 2nd, is this correct?
No.
Okay, all right, that's why I can't find it on page 3.
So there's a stapled,
Set to the side.
yeah, it was off to the side when you got here. It might be underneath your,
This one, here.
yeah, it's that one, sorry. Turn to page 3. it should
Here,
be.
gotcha.
Well, maybe let's look through the outline and kind of come up with our definite kind of plan and goals here, and then we can go to the name as kind of a final, maybe kind of wrap it up.
Yeah, I apologize. I swear I had brought it with me, but I'm not seeing it.
So the edits there, so on the first page, actually, so when and Susan, this actually came from your recommendation. If you look at the title of the document, so it says Sustainable Sebastian, Encouraging Lagoon-Friendly Businesses. I think that was kind of a tagline you had come up with.
Something close to that,
And
yes.
maybe somehow, if we want to try and incorporate both, we can talk about
Yeah.
that. I think I'm assuming that this is your comment here with the mission statement, that we should add something in here about our businesses. And I think I like that idea.
Well, all it is, I just amended the mission statement for the board itself, and it was so simple and clear that I thought if you just added, if we're going to be focusing on businesses, all you had to do was add that one word.
As they play an important role in the
Do you
community.
want to limit it to just businesses? I mean, are there going to be other things that we're going to be doing later that, would
Well,
be
that was
limited?
a thought I had, because I had thought it would be, if we want to focus on businesses, and I think it's certainly fine that we do that for right now, for our
Right.
initial effort. I think it's a great thing. But if we wanted to fold in any of the other environmental groups that are, initiatives that are out there, like Florida Friendly or Florida Wildlife Habitat or any of the others, I don't see a problem with that because truly our businesses are going to have landscape issues and they're going to have water issue and they're going to have drainage issues and that they're going to have to deal with. If you wanted to weight some of the initiatives over others when it came to setting up a
priority or something?
setting up an award benefit to businesses, I think if you want to start with businesses, if you wanted to weight the litter quitter program a little heavier than perhaps Florida Friendly or some of the others as an initial goal, I don't see a problem with that. You're going to have to score people somehow. But it gives them a broader, diverse thing to look at if they're looking at a variety of sources for information.
Yeah, so I did notice that you had made a couple comments about adding in some of the, the issues with or not issues, but some of the organizations with the Florida Friendly Yards and incorporating the landscaping, types of topics into here. I think my only concern with that, and I think that it's a very worthwhile goal, is that it might be, while we're trying to shape this type of a program, we were looking at, kind of small scale things that can be done within the businesses in terms of their plastic and disposable kind of item usage. I mean, it would be great to expand out to landscaping and, maybe possibly renewable energies or those types of things that we could really create a bigger umbrella. I wonder if that's something maybe we can kind of table and then maybe include afterwards once we get the initial program rolling.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think you have to start somewhere, and we're starting with businesses.
Right. And I think we should start with businesses on the river, honestly. I've been thinking about this as well because...
I think also what Sue suggested is like, as we develop a name, if we are thinking we want to eventually umbrella over these other categories, we should stay away from business, have something more, that covers everybody. That doesn't, I think that's what... Right, if you're saying if we cover, like, if we do Florida Friendly.
I don't mind starting with businesses. I mean, the businesses along the river are an important key to Sebastian as a whole. I don't have a problem with that, but not all businesses are the same, certainly, and not all. I just think that if we offer them a smorgasbord of opportunities, I don't think we need to do 20 or anything like that. I just think that some people can deal with plastic differently than others. And if we want to focus on plastic, that's fine. That's really not, I just don't see why we couldn't deal with others as well. And I do think that at some point, if the business aspect works, if the business portion of this works and we do it right, and there isn't and people see what's going on, then you can expand it to ask homeowners to do things differently and into the other realms. And if they see somebody putting a butterfly in their restaurant parking lot, butterfly garden in their parking lot, they might be impressed. And maybe some restaurant wants to do that. I don't know.
Where they might be limited on eliminating plastic in some area, they may be able to compensate by adding a butterfly garden or other features.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there are some businesses that will be, a lot of businesses already are moving forward with sustainable resources in their, the easy ones, with the paper straws or trying to do things better. Others don't even know where to begin. And might want to just have other alternatives.
Well, I think one of the things you want to do is you want to be able to attract people on a variety of different participation levels, and just to be part of whatever we call Sustainable Sebastian initiative or program or resource. We want to be able to get them in just to join. To begin with, at first, is to say, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. What do you have? And show them what we have as far as the resources that we're going to get for them to find more green stuff.
Yeah, all of the programs that we have discussed have the ability to certify participants as a wildlife habitat or a Florida Friendly Yard or as a litter quitter wonderful business or whatever it happens to be. We don't have to do that. They're already going to be part of that if they go with any of those programs, which makes it easier in the long run, I think, just because we don't have to create a criteria for anything. All we really have to do is create, if we're going to have an awards, something where we recognize businesses, then we have to have a criteria for that one thing, and but not that they're reduce this much waste out of their from their business, or that much plastic or whatever. Litter Quitter will do that as part of their program. And if they're part of that program, then they're going to be part of our program. And that's kind of, I just think it all folds together.
What I was thinking was, is like, they could be part of the Sebastian, whatever we call it, initiative, without having to actually join either Litter Quitter or Surfrider, but just say, well, we're interested in joining you guys. Let's take a look at this, at these two programs that you're offering. Maybe they can come up with, well, I heard about this one, or whatever. You know, I think that the participation to get them to buy in without having to actually pay, and Surfrider will present next time, but we're gonna, you know, there is a fee involved, and from what I understand, we're not gonna be able to use any development dollars to offset that for anybody, or we don't want to. So,
I think, yeah.
But the idea is to get them in, you know, to Sebastian.
And make the options attractive.
And then exactly,
and get
and
the
see,
information
here's
out
a
there.
couple things we've got going. We might add more, we might add other things, landscape, whatever, down the line, but here's a couple things, and here, welcome aboard to try to do what you can, not what we want you to do, but do what you can, and here's some options for you as far as.
Well, yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say, is I don't think we force any of these programs on anybody, but they all have to participate in Litter Quitter, which comes out hard, or any of the other programs. There is some upfront costs for almost all of them. I think it's $35 a year for Florida Wildlife. Florida Friendly, I'm not so sure that there is, except that the cost of the plants and the landscaping. But there is going to be some cost to do the right thing. And Surfrider, I don't know.
It's a cost, but my point is, for the Sebastian program, for our program, I don't know if it should be a cost. They should be able to join without any cost, to just say, you know what, I'll join up to get your resources to find out about becoming more sustainable, about, what it might cost us, right?
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
Right.
But there are costs to the majority of these programs just for them to participate with.
Sure.
Them.
And including the Twitter, I don't know about Litter Quitter, but I do know Surfrider.
Yeah, I don't believe there's any fee.
But there shouldn't be, and what I'm thinking is let's make it as easy as possible for them to say, yeah, you know what, I've been thinking about going green, okay, yeah, send me what you have, or whatever, let's see your package, or, kind of thing.
Remember that we have also, it's been discussed before, Lisa Frazier has mentioned before, that there are CRA dollars for those restaurants along the waterfront, and since that's our primary focus to start with, that if we come up with something structured, we may be able to request funds for that.
When Lisa was here and you were on your honeymoon, her eyebrows were raised very high with touching her CRA dollars.
Well, that's what I was
She's the one that
thinking.
first suggested it.
I mean,
it has to be very structured, and it
Yeah.
has to be, some limitations, not,
if they want to do a bottle recycling program, and we need to build they have to build a dumpster container, I think we should try to get that.
Like for the recycling.
And that's already
that was the
existing.
first time she mentioned it, was that
Yeah.
for the business recycling program, that's certainly something that has a structured cost to it. And also her advice today, coming into the meeting, she's awaiting election results. She's running for Sebastian Inlet Navigational District tonight,
voted for her.
so she's not here. But she recommended that as we streamline this to approach city council, that the more simple and straightforward we make it, the better received it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's a great initiative. We already know that many of the members are behind the idea. We just have to really streamline it, make it as simple as possible. It's something we could elaborate on, later, but we need to focus on the core of what we want.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, you know, I think the simpler we make it, the more focused we are, and make sure that that works first. I mean, and this is something that, you know, I learned as a teacher. You don't bite off more than you can chew. You focus on one thing that you can absolutely do right, and then you build upon that. And so I
A
think.
question in regards to clarification on the CRA dollars that are available for that, are they available to pay Waste Management their fee to collect the
That's
recycling?
the sort of thing that could be.
Okay, that's good, okay.
Remember when we had the representative here speaking, Stephanie Fonneville?
Yeah.
And Lisa was here for that meeting, and she had suggested that that's the sort of thing
Great.
that we may be able to pursue CRA dollars for.
And that's the type of information that we would be able to kind of cement the details down, put that in an information packet, and be able to give that to a business and say, listen, these are the funds available. If you choose to do A, B, and C, we can pay for this portion of it. You know, I would hope that we would be able to give them that beforehand instead of constantly checking. Do you think that's possible?
For the...
To know
to get
exactly what those funds could be used for.
She's the CRA manager. It's really out of my details on it, and I'm not
But
going to...
it's good to know, though.
I'm not going to...
Let's follow up on that.
But when she was here for that speech, she said this is the sort of thing there could be maybe CRA dollars for, so she is more familiar than I am, of course.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Charles, welcome. We're looking at the outline that was sent out to everyone and just the edits.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Okay. So let's kind of go through and check for that first bullet point there for our mission statement. Do we want to try and amend that to add our businesses, or do we want to leave it as is?
I wouldn't change the ordinance. I just was talking about for either mission statement is fine with me. But if we're going to deal with businesses, we need to talk about businesses.
I think once we can get this plan through city council, that would be, I think, a natural next step. It would require a resolution, so but I think it's a great idea. You know, it's one word, but it sure does, you know.
Okay, so that would be kind of on the shelf for once this gets...
Require a resolution, so we approach it after we get...
Okay, looking at the next bullet points, for the objective to remove city end, because it's not the city that's actually participating in the programs. Yeah, that makes sense. To help educate. Okay, so I'm looking at the second bullet point there with the underlining.
The underlined are the parts added.
Added, okay.
Let's say, and participate in existing as opposed to participate in sustainable business programs, because we might add other ones later, right?
Yes. So do we take out business there then?
Incentivize.
In existing sustainable programs?
I mean, you could even say incentivize the community to participate in sustainable programs. I mean, in the end, that's broad enough where it covers pretty much anything we would do.
And Brian, I think that was you that said the word encourage, right?
Yes.
I like that word, to start with the word encourage.
Right.
Okay. So how do we, okay. So instead of incentivize, encourage?
Mm-hmm.
Encourage local community members?
Mm-hmm.
To...
Or encourage our community.
Yeah, that's good, our community.
Encourage our community to participate in existing sustainable business programs or just programs?
We're going to get rid of existing, right? We're going to just use sustainable programs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because you're saying,
Right.
okay, because we don't want to grandfather anyone, okay. In sustainable business programs and adopt practices.
Perfect.
Conserve natural resources and reduce waste production. Okay. We've got the second, so in the second bullet point, kind of the last underlined section, reduce waste production and promote policies that are economically efficient and that are safe, healthful, and rewarding for the environment and for businesses as well as their employees, consumers, customers, people living and working and visiting in the community of Sebastian.
Sounds good.
I'm wondering if we can just shorten that last part there.
I feel like some of it may just be defining sustainable. You know?
I like this simpler, I mean, do we have to have the bullet points underneath here, or are these are add-ons or suggestions?
Yeah,
The bullet points are a
comments.
compilation of
Okay.
everyone's
Right, okay.
suggestions, and I just bullet pointed them under that item in the outline so that
I wonder if we put, if we have so encourage our community to participate in sustainable business programs and adopt practices which conserve natural resources and reduce waste production and promote policies that are economically efficient and that are safe, healthful, and rewarding for the environment and for, how about all community members? Can
All
we
living
summarize it that
things?
way? What's that?
All living things?
I mean, but yeah.
Honestly, these are okay suggestions, and we can divide it up any way we want. But with just the top, sentence is, however you want to
Sufficient?
phrase it. I think that's enough, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to define it so much. I mean, the thing that, where is it? It says
Keeping it simple, right?
economically
That's what we should-
efficient, and who determines economic efficiency? I mean, like, that you're adding a lot in there that's going to be,
Subject to interpretation?
I think so.
that's sort of a further definition of the objective, you know?
Yeah, I think you want it to be broad enough where we don't pigeonhole ourselves, and we're able to add things and I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I just see your point.
Encourage our community to participate in sustainable programs and to adopt practices which conserve natural resources and reduce waste pollution or waste production. I think that covers a lot of what we want to do, doesn't it?
It does. It does cover a lot of what you want to do, but sustainable business as a policy or something that a community wants to do encompasses more than just not putting litter in the lagoon or avoiding plastic, which is how we started. It also involves using the resources to the highest and best benefit of the community, but also everybody participating in the profits of such, including employees, workers, other people. And I'm trying to encompass and include everybody, not just businesses, business owners, not just the people who visit here, but everybody. And when you start looking up the definition of sustainable business, I like using the Lowell adaptation, and they really push including the workers in anything that you want to do, because they're the ones who are really putting the rubber to the road. They're the ones who have to do the recycling. They're the ones who have to bring out the products, who do the recommendations, the waiters, the waitresses, the carpenters, the plumbers, the people actually using the materials. So I'm trying to include that section of the population as well.
Yeah, I always think they're included in the community, but I do like the idea of adding visitors. So encourage our community and visitors to participate in sustainable programs and to adopt practices which conserve natural resources and reduce waste production.
Sustainable can be a very broad
And
thing.
enhance our
Do
environment.
we maybe want to say environmentally sustainable? Just an idea.
Oh, you're absolutely right about that. The definition of that
Huge.
sustainable business practice includes your complete supply chain. It includes the transportation of the employees going
All of your ins, all of your outs.
Forget rid of that part.
Yeah, it's very encompassing when you really start looking at it. The people who come and visit your community, how are they getting there? Are they long-term distance traveling? Are they coming close by? There's a lot that goes into it.
I think with what we have, with the Ocean Friendly and with the Litter Quitter program, that what we have here matches what they're doing. And that's kind of the goal, at least for the initial step. If we want to expand this, we can make that more broad, but I think focusing, again, kind of keeping it simple, keeping, our focus and our priority, at least initially.
Okay.
I would go with this.
I think if we get too deep in the weeds, some of these businesses are going to think that we're involving ourselves in their business models. And I agree, it needs to be clean and simple, neat.
Okay.
And I think at some point there is a program called that the state runs for the EPA called Clean Marinas. I'm thinking that most of our marinas are probably participating in that anyway, but I don't really know. I haven't checked their licensing or whatever. But if we're dealing mostly with non-recyclables and plastics, your larger point is, is transportation and air quality and all kinds of things, lighting, all kinds of things.
Oh, that's correct, absolutely. It encompasses your whole supply chain.
I don't think we want to reach that far.
No.
I think the businesses are already there. When I did my survey, some of these people are way far ahead of us. And I can't just name different businesses, but they're way far ahead of that part. Mm-hmm. And the ones that aren't will need the education and encouraging. But we're behind some of these people, and we're ahead of some of the people.
That's why the programs that we were discussing here, the Litter Quitter program, the Surf Rider program, even if we reach into Florida Friendly Yards or Wildlife Habitat, they provide the education. They'll come in and deal with the education if they have a place, or if the business people are willing. And that's what I was thinking is, it may be that some folks just don't know where to reach or where to go for information.
You're 100% correct about that.
Yeah,
most of them don't.
And providing that information is not that hard. I mean, it's just a matter of assembling the information and putting it together in a pamphlet and saying, these people do this, these people do that, and here's who you call.
I think we can also publish it on our website. I looked at other city councils' website. There's a lot of sustainable business action going on right now at our level as well as the state level. And I looked at other examples of what other natural resource boards are doing around the country. And they've updated their websites to put it out instead of using the pamphlets on paper. Online, as well as do an interactive survey. And we could authorize our media team to update our website to start reflecting some of these issues that
well, I know that
forward.
the North County Library right now has a program going on Florida Friendly Yards on certain Thursdays or something like that. The Audubon Society. is
We have
gonna
that published on our website, all the dates for that they're doing at the library, and we also have it on our
Yeah.
TV channel.
But communication and getting the word out is not going to be easy. There is no certain source that people pay attention to. And so if we're dealing with just a small universe in businesses, that's one thing. But even getting that word out there is not going to be easy, except through the chamber, if they belong to the chamber. And most do.
I want to add, I don't know how much we've just worked with Litter Quitter at this point, but a lot of those programs in Brevard, they operate on a county tax, and they aren't allowed to, they may come and speak, but they aren't allowed to actually operate outside of county lines. They can advise and assist, but they can't actually like operate, like inspect and qualify people for their program outside of their county lines. So
Isn't that
something
I
we
thought
may
that
want to
was
look
run by the
into
zoo.
before we count on their program. Just throwing it out there.
Is that a county program or is it the zoo?
They added an environmental tax for the county of
Yeah.
Brevard, and so a lot of the programs through the Brevard Zoo, like the Restore Our Shores program,
they're assisted by
they
them.
aren't allowed. They assist us. They advise us on our oyster garden, but they can't actually operate outside of the county because of their funding.
There are existing Litter Quitter businesses outside of Brevard County.
All right, great.
So and every, contact I've had, they've never mentioned that, but I will. So the Surfrider organization will be here at the next meeting. I believe the Litter Quitter representative from that program will be here too, so that'll be good to have both of those. Okay. So are we in agreement that the objective, encourage our community to participate in environmentally sustainable programs and adopt practices which conserve natural resources and reduce waste production, for now at least, is a succinct enough goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so if we move to our initiative tasks then, there were some comments under creating the information packet for the business owners. And obviously, if this expands into other community members, not just business owners, we can, this can be amended. But for the time being, with these programs, the businesses would be the ones to participate. It says create a brochure, the first bullet point there, which outlines the lagoon-friendly, business-friendly program and its mission. Provide an application providing information on the business wishing to participate, and include a list of existing environmental programs on waste and plastic reduction, water use, native landscape, and habitat, which may include but is not limited to the following. And then you have the list there.
I put that together, as I said earlier, I just thought it was a menu of resources. And that are already existing, already in place, that are already running, and available generally at various times within the city, without reaching too far away.
I'm thinking maybe with the, trying to keep things simple, that we initially just kind of include the two. I'm
Okay.
sure that we can include the rest of them on our website or information on those.
Given
Again,
the kind of flux nature of that, what we're planning for, being able to add things, maybe even like a brochure, maybe just a one-pager, really, simple, because so we can, when you get into a brochure, we're talking, what are we doing, a 4-color printing, and how many are we printing, that sort of thing, whereas, initially this is going to be rolled out, I would imagine, on a smaller scale.
Well, our focus is primarily waterfront restaurants, right?
Right, right.
We can do color
So
copies for each of
yeah.
those. It's not a lot. I mean, it's a lot when you think of the plastics they're using there, but that's not like 12, 15, maybe.
Right.
I have, and maybe you know this, so the sewage line that's coming in along US 1, it's going to serve businesses that were not previously served with sewage. Is that, they're going to be required to connect to that over a certain time, or do you know?
A lot of the businesses within the CRA are already connected to sewage through the gravity line and the lift stations that are down in River Drive. That sewage line project, it doesn't fall under me. I've just heard about it. And I don't know that it's something that's going to happen immediately, but I know that it's working its way.
Well, yeah, I don't know when it's going to be finalized and just which businesses it's going to serve. Nobody told me either, and I'm not involved in it. Thankfully, I don't have to sit and dig the line.
I know that it's not going to replace the gravity line going down in River Drive, so. But I don't know. When it comes to the plans and layout for sewage lines, it actually is like national security. It's not something that they publish and you won't find, and I can't even get the maps for it. I've asked a number of times, so it's just something they don't easily divulge until it's just time for it.
I just know some of those businesses on the waterfront don't seem to be hooked up to anything in the way of a sewer line. They have their own systems. And that affects a whole lot of things.
They're septic to sewer grant dollars, but they still have to install their own lift station, which gets costly.
Yeah, it's very for small business.
A lot of residences and businesses have taken advantage of it, but many still haven't.
Okay, so for our initiative tasks, we want to add something along the lines of, along with the information packet, to have just a succinct brochure that we can, as members who are part of this kind of task force who have been, who know what the program is all about, who might be able to go to businesses, that we could just kind of hand to businesses the succinct program objective and basically a place, where they can go for more information. That we want to try and do?
Sure.
Okay. And enlisting local environmental groups. I think that would be a great idea for high school, middle school students to try and help out with the cost comparisons, to be involved in the creation of that. Is that something we need to put into this outline?
I don't think so.
I would.
I mean, we're including community in the statement, so I mean,
Yeah, and
those
that's
kids
also-
are involved, they're part of the community.
Yeah, okay. It's got their announcement of the approved business program will occur during our Earth Day event. That would be a great goal. First winner will be announced during and continue annually.
That's going to be
I'm not quite
tight.
sure that
That's
detail.
It's going to be a tight schedule,
Well,
right?
yeah.
This is
Well, I
April.
was concerned,
3
originally
meetings.
in your proposal, you talked about doing something consistently, the businesses being involved for 3 years before there was a reward at the end. And I just thought, we have a annual thing that the board puts together, the Earth Day thing. If we kicked it off at Earth Day,
That would be probably
Yeah.
a more realistic
well, and
timetable.
when you have a crowd, and you can talk about the businesses that have raised their hand and says they're going to try and participate in some way, which kind of requires talking to some sort of communication. But then, and then a year, if there could be some recognition for somebody who had done something. And that's why what I meant is if you had a variety of things they could do, then you could weight the non-recyclables heavier than planting a butterfly garden or whatever. Although they're all important, I don't mean to dish on the butterfly gardens.
Don't take butterflies lightly.
No, I like butterflies. I don't like the caterpillars, but I like butterflies. And, but anyway, it just seems a long time, 3 years, to wait for some sort of a certificate that's provided or recognition by the city.
I think the idea behind the, that they would receive the benefits, so, the banner or some kind of signage or recognition at a city council meeting or natural resources board meeting. I was anticipating that those would be in existence, and then potentially after 3 years that they'd be requested, if they want to remain part of the program, that they'd be requested to kind of up the ante a little bit and add at least one more new thing. And at that point, 3 years down the line, hopefully we would have expansion of, potentially including landscaping or, renewable energy or something along those lines.
They could also get recognition through our website.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
saying, and there's the marquee at Riverview Park works for recognition purposes, last time I knew.
I mean, the decals or stickers, whatever you want to call them, those are great. They're cheap, and you can give them 5.
I have the machine that can make them, so.
I mean,
We just need a good
here's one
logo.
for each
It
of your
takes me a
vehicles
minute.
or
I
your
make
fleet,
things like that all the
whatever. I
time.
mean,
But I think every free place that's available, the website, the Facebook pages, the marquees, the city newsletter, whatever that comes out every once in a while. And, the things that are available at little or no cost work, because we still don't have a budget of any sort.
Also, the resources that the Chamber of Commerce has, if we have their support on that,
Right.
that's a big part too.
Right.
And it does seem that we have that. Okay. Okay, so it looks like the things that we have, the bullet points we have there are, we're kind of in agreement. I'm not sure if necessarily we need to add any in there for the sake of simplicity. Does anyone see anything that we need to put in there to present to the city council? Okay. Okay, so number 2 on page 2, so highlight participating businesses. You have the bullet point there, banners, signage, invitations to be recognized at the city council, advertisement and discounts on potential city events like the Light Up Night and the Earth Day, Arbor Day celebration. Look at our bullet points there. So alternative funding for A and B. So the Natural Resources Board does not have the budget for making a banner or signage to be handed out.
Well, depending on if we develop a logo that's as simple as me cutting the vinyl, then I think we have the budget for a roll of vinyl.
Okay.
But it depends on what we're looking at, so that's why we need to keep it simple. We can't get elaborate.
Right. I'm thinking with the banner, maybe to kind of cut costs, we could create like one big banner and kind of hang it up outside a restaurant when they first participate and then kind of move it around.
Well, there are ordinances on signs.
Oh, right. Right.
And Dory reminds me of that every time I discuss this initiative, make sure, but, there's actually pretty good size that we can put in the window.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I forget what it is exactly, but it's like 24 by 12 or something that we can put in the window.
Okay.
That's a lot. But as far as signs out in the ground outside, it's a sketchy area. We certainly don't want to be breaking our own ordinances.
Yes, this is true. Okay, so we'll scale back the size of the banners or the signs.
Large sticker.
Says the third bullet point there, create an awards criteria and program which will recognize one business for the highest achievement in meeting the program's mission. And this is what you were talking about, Susan, with kind of recognizing that person at Earth Day?
Yeah, I just thought if we had an annual event, and when we do, you recognize somebody once a year, and it could be for different things. Or like you say, or you add things. You could, and
Not only just recognize, but to promote what we're doing to get people to use this policy.
Earth Day is a great place for that because
Earth Day that was really fun. I don't know if everybody was here for that, but that was a lot of fun. And when you do it this year, you'll see how that'll work out for you. Promoting it then, it was a lot of fun.
You have all of these. As I remember, I think there was a Florida-friendly display, and there were...
There's all kinds of displays out there, absolutely.
There was a nurseryman selling native plants.
Yeah. And we would get up there like every hour and
Right.
push the Arbor Day and push the Earth Day
Right.
and everything else that goes along with it.
Right.
But you're absolutely correct. When you want to change behavior, you have to recognize that achievement, and it has to be done on a consistent basis, and it has to be done sooner than later. And you're absolutely correct about that. And promoting it at Earth Day would just be one day out of the year that we would have an opportunity to do that when there's so many other things going on too in everybody's daily lives and in their business cycle. But absolutely, Earth Day is a great place to promote it, and our website is a great place to promote it, I think. the pamphlets, anything you can do to get the people to come here to Sebastian to experience sustainable business, because that's what the businesses want. They don't want to just be socked with another policy. They want a reason for these people to come here. It's like buying a drill bit. You don't buy drill bits, you buy it for the nice hole it makes. And that's when we're promoting it, that would be helpful to the businesses.
That falls in line with the whole green infrastructure and ecotourism goal that the Community Development Department really focuses on. You know, looking at the connectivity of green spaces and just the whole vision of the city, which was, you know, home of Pelican Island. That's really our legacy.
Absolutely, it really, really is. And we're maybe missing the boat a little bit on the promotion of that and getting people to come to Sebastian, enjoy our area sustainably, cleanly, and leave, and hopefully come back.
Well, and promoting what we're trying to do with businesses will spill over from business to business to business as we promote it.
And to the homes.
Yeah, pardon me?
And to the people who live here, not just the businesses.
And to the
people who live here and work.
So it looks like, last one, develop a recognizable logo for initiative for display at qualifying businesses. I think there are community members. I don't know if we want to have a contest. I'm sure students might want to get involved. I know one of the businesses I had spoken to, there was an employee that was really heavily involved in kind of art and designing logos. I think there are a lot of people out there we can kind of involve the community in that once we.
I think it would be fun to involve the schools that are in Sebastian, whether high school, middle school, elementary schools, whatever, into a logo.
Contest.
Gotta believe it's gonna include a pelican. It's gotta be a pelican. It's not gonna be a buzzard, I don't think.
Yeah, and have a, vote for it and involve the community in it that way. Okay. All right, so that will certainly be on there. All right, so it looks like for the second part, the initiative tasks and the comments, most of those things, again, are great details. Does anyone want to see anything omitted or have added to that list that we see there?
Well,
what we would present.
Like the discounts of participation, the Earth Day is already free for vendors.
Oh, right, okay.
And I don't know about the holiday light up the night. I don't know.
Well, that's a question. Is most of the events are sponsored by Rotary or other, not necessarily the city. So we can't be giving away the Rotary's money. But we need to come up with some device to encourage the use of less plastic at city parks in general, perhaps.
Yeah, so that's the next budget. So, that's the next item on page 3. So Kim, do you think that we should take out the discounts on participation there? Because potentially it's not
We
even
could,
an issue.
instead offer marketing, we'll promote those businesses
There you go.
at our own tables at community events as, qualifying
We're gonna have
businesses can be promoted through our booth at community
At
events.
community events, okay.
And we'll have them listed on our Natural Resources Board website, obviously, so we can provide links to them. I'm sure our IT can do that.
And NRB, okay. Okay, so I'll add those in there. All right, so on page 3, creating a vendor information packet. So what you were talking about, Susan, for city-sponsored events. I guess, do you want to add in there and
Well, that'll have the same information package we have in our sustainable, whatever we call our program.
yeah, so that information to reduce the use of single-use plastics and encourage biodegradable. Should I add a bullet point or part B there that says that we should offer this information to all events being held
Sure.
on
On city property, I would
property?
think so.
I mean, that would basically just be Riverview Park, right?
Well, no, got the whole Barber Sports Complex out there. and the concession stand there.
Community center?
Where do they have, what type of
yeah.
permitting is
The
needed for
yacht
those
club?
places?
Yeah,
Oh, right, okay. So offered on city property then?
Mhm.
Would include them all, okay.
I don't think it's unreasonable to set some standards, I mean, not fully, but some standards, especially
Certainly our own.
when it comes to,
You're gonna have to- yeah,
I
you're
just
gonna
don't
have
think
to-
it is. I've been to a lot of
You're gonna
events
have
at
to
a lot
work
of
with
parks.
those teams at
that set
Barber
those
Street
standards.
Complex, yeah, and the people that use the concession stand, but you're also gonna have to provide some waste, some place to throw things that are aluminum, or if you're gonna have plastic water bottles or something, you're gonna have to figure out how to deal with that.
Well, events always bring in extra bins and stuff. That's a requirement.
So there's a bullet point here that says, require that all event participants on city property meet specific plastic and styrofoam reduction standards. I think this was one I had switched, I had put encourage switching away because we were afraid that it would be, but do we want to go back to requiring a minimum standard of?
I don't think we have to reach for the stars and say zero this, zero that, but I think it's not
I think
unreasonable to
encourage is
say
right.
no bottled water and
I think the guidance
no straws
from,
or something,
Right, so
some
just
minimal
Something
thing.
minimal, yeah.
I think that leans towards an ordinance almost, and we were trying to avoid it looking like an
Enforcement.
ordinance.
We're trying to avoid
Yeah, trying to avoid
enforcement.
enforcement. Encourage use those terms, encourage the use of less plastics.
So for city-sponsored events, they do have to pay some sort of a fee?
It depends,
to use the
again,
property?
like the clam bake was city, but not, because it was a fundraiser, so they charge. So it really varies depending.
Shrimp Fest, they pay the Rotary. The Rotary
The Rotary
collects,
does pay.
Yes.
So you
Rotary
use that place next
is-
to Krabby Bill's for free, right? That's where we did.
Oh, the dock over there, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they don't need a permit to use that, so, I mean.
You're talking-
Vendors.
Well, that's
vendors
a
should be
small
encouraged.
space, it's not really.
Yeah, it's really not.
You don't need a
big
permit to have a wedding at Riverview Park either, but you need to apply if you want them to not let anyone else in that space, you know?
So at the very least, we can provide information on how to avoid plastic and
And
styrofoam
encourage,
usage.
or like this is what we encourage you to do. I mean, we encourage you not to use single-use plastics. Here's a list of vendors that we approve, that can provide you with products.
Are inspections done by city employees after these events to ensure that people have, that things have been cleaned up and
Oh, yeah.
not left behind? Can
There's
that be
actually
part of it?
a group of volunteers that are amazing at every event, and they're always out there cleaning the whole time. You probably don't even notice them there every event, but there's
And
also city
that's
staff.
everybody from the Boys and Girls Club to the Rotaract at high school, the chorus, the band, football. They're all very, very involved.
I'm just trying to think outside the box. If there's any way that we can incorporate that as part of our kind of enforcement.
Something that was brought up by one of the volunteers that's actually, he's been volunteering with the city for years, everyone knows him, but he brought up to me at random that a problem in events are zip ties. Everyone just cuts them off of everything. They use it for everything. That they secure at their booths and stuff. They use it for everything, and then they just cut them, and that's the number one thing that they're picking up for weeks because it's a random thing, and I don't know how we can approach that, or if there's some biodegradable version, but it was very,
Zip ties and balloons.
something unexpected that is just in mass quantities after events.
Well, I mean, on this sheet that we give them with vendor information for sustainable products, we could say things like, one of the things we found with our greenskeepers complain about the most is zip ties. Please, if you use them, and please make sure they're disposed of properly. Something.
Okay. All right. Sounds like that one, okay. Should we keep what we have in existence and just kind of work on the details for that as we
I think so.
move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then number 4, create a community task force involving city employees, NRB members, local organizations, business owners. Should I put schools on there? Is that assumed as part of community?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much this is, how big is this gonna be? What additional stuff? We're so small.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like along the lines of maybe having a few NRB liaisons to the project as opposed to, a task force that involves bringing in people from obviously we'd love to have people from the community join us in presenting this, and certainly we can ask for people's help in doing this.
I guess my question is, what's the purpose of the task force?
Well, there's the developmental tasks, and then there's the implementation tasks.
Yeah, so you have those people would be responsible for helping to train and be trained in the goals of the program. They could act as kind of representatives out in the community, be able to approach, kind of set a goal for each task force member. Please approach at least one business, coordinate what business they may, be looking at within a certain time period. Basically being kind of a community liaison so that when the opportunity arises, they're able to represent the program. And, potentially help with some of the implementation. So going out and sitting down with business owners, talking with them about what the benefits are, what the information is in this packet, and kind of leading them through that and helping to answer any questions.
It's gonna involve a lot of education for these people on the task force, right?
Yeah.
We don't even know what it is yet.
Yeah, so education for ourselves as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the first bullet point there basically speaks to what that working group or what that task force would be. Consist of no more than 7 individuals. Do we want to limit it to a certain number at this point?
It would really depend on the task
And what's happening? Okay. Set up an interactive website to showcase Sebastian programs, incentive, and survey. Do you think that this one here, so setting up the interactive website, we can put this under number 2, how to highlight participating businesses?
Yes.
Okay, so that can go in there. And board members volunteer to champion specific tasks related to rollout. I think that would be, absolutely critical.
Right.
Once we get things rolling.
That went back to what I was saying before about, having some board members do it as opposed to task force. I'm not opposed to task force, but it's gonna require another group of meetings, right?
Yeah. No, that is true.
How much time realistically are we gonna have? Honestly, I think it's almost better for us to do the hands-on ourselves than to have people come in, but, there are people that wanna help us, so why not take advantage of that? I don't know. I'm up in the air on it.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, having a day job and not being able to,
Right.
and not to knock not having a day job. Well, you do as well, Charles, but, it's difficult for me to get away for day meetings, a morning meeting, which is when most people are getting together for lunch. So to have other people that could be working towards the same goal, for me personally would be.
Sorry, remember that if you want to approach a restaurant, anyone who's been in the business knows it's going to be about 2 to 4 on a weekday. So that's like your goal time to meet with them and be able to discuss things with them when they have time.
Yeah.
At our last meeting, we talked about trying to get in front of the Chamber of Commerce with a presentation, but we didn't want to do that before we had gone before our own city council.
Correct.
And but I think there will be occasions when it needs to be one person in front of another person, but I think I think we can probably do a lot
That might be the time to ask if there's interest in forming a task
Yeah.
force for this, when we do the presentation to
And
the,
I would get away from the
Chamber.
word task force, as that sounds very serious.
it does.
Yeah,
We have-
volunteers would work,
Yeah,
you know.
Okay.
looking for volunteers.
We have an established list of volunteers with the NRB, and I've kept emails and people,
Okay,
of a
so-
lot of residents,
Well,
and
and
that's
you've got
something
your
that
yeah,
once we
you've
have
got-
once we have the task defined,
Right.
and we know exactly what we want help
Right.
with, we'll solicit through our email list and probably
Right.
be able
Okay,
to
that
develop
sounds
it from
good.
there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think as we know, when we know what we're going to be doing, that helps.
Yeah.
So do we want to switch to working group? Do we want just committee?
Friends.
Sounds good. Yeah, committee's good.
Committee. Okay. Okay. So the one thing that I had in the last, so 4D, about educating that they need to remain, a participant, do we want to keep that on there? Is that something that we don't really want to deal with at this point? I put a question mark there just because, I don't know. I wasn't quite convinced myself.
Yeah, I think at this point, we want to get them in the program.
Just get them there first.
And let's see how it actually does. I mean, if the vendor, hopefully everything works out okay, but,
Just how about taking out the 3 years? It could read, educate business owners of city requirements to remain as a participant as sustainable Sebastian business, including requirement maintaining existing sustainable business practices. Bam.
But just
Okay. With the
establishing the
requirement-
practices.
Establishing sustainable business practices with the requirement of adding at least one additional sustainable business practice.
Okay.
And just
fair
take
enough,
out,
yeah.
yeah.
And then, like we have the Tree City USA, 'cause I'm doing that application right now for us. And then every year we get a new sticker, 2 years, 5 years,
Right,
whatever,
right.
14 years.
Yeah.
We can amend their logo with 2 years
To have,
yeah.
with the length of time. Okay, all right, sounds great. Okay, so those are our edits. I'll work on those and get those, back to Kim. The name, how do we want to move forward with this?
Wait a minute, I just found my paperwork, but now, what I had originally put together was, I lost it again. One day I'm gonna have eyeballs at work. Anyway, it was, lagoon-friendly Sebastian or business or something like, and,
Lagoon-friendly businesses will.
yeah. And then, but anyway, sustainable, there's nothing wrong with sustainable Sebastian if people understand what it means. And it's just that I think people know that we need to work on our environment and the lagoon. And the lagoon has been in the news all over the place.
Sustainable is a big word, means a lot of stuff. It can mean
Say
a
it
lot.
again?
Sustainable is a very broad word and can mean a lot. And like you said earlier, Stu, that a lot of people don't quite know what that means. We focus on something more environmental, eco, lagoons, things, buzzwords people know in this area, maybe. Keep it simple.
Sebastian Sustainability Initiative, to me, is the beginning of something, right, for the city of Sebastian, right? I mean, we're starting this from scratch, it's an initiative, right? That's where I was going with the Sebastian Sustainability Initiative, SSI. But, that's just...
ISIS.
Not ISIS, SSI. Or you could do Sebastian River Sustainability Initiative, which I had as well, Sebastian Rivers, SRSI.
can I suggest that we've gone so far, we've made a lot of progress. Can we just kind of hold the name again for another meeting? Do we need a name today?
No. Do we? I don't think so. We're not presenting to the board until when?
Well, that's what we have to figure out, because there are two meetings before the end of the year. There's a meeting on November 28th and a meeting on December 12th. So that's what we're down to.
I think we're December 12th. We have to at least know what the two programs look like.
So having the programs present on December 4th. Oh, what were you going to say, Charles?
Are you going to get them something by the November meeting?
No.
Well, that's what,
How?
I mean, we could.
We're close, we just don't have a name.
Yeah, we just, I mean,
Because they're gonna wanna review it, and then they're gonna wanna vote on it. They're not gonna do it all at the same meeting.
so should we present this, kind of get the initial information out there? We can use our December meeting for kind of clarifying any questions that they might have, and then be able to go back to them December 12th again and,
Punch it out,
yeah,
get her done.
would that be recommended?
I do not have as much experience with city council as other staff, but I certainly will consult with them when we
Okay.
get the edits done on this outline and consult. Do you think we're ready for city council and get staff feedback? I recommend
Okay,
before we decide.
okay, that sounds great. I will work on just cleaning up the document, and I'll send the edits to you, Paul, and then, or to Kim, and then she can send it out to everyone. I personally will intend to be at I can be at the November 28th meeting. Is anyone else able to be at the November 28th meeting?
Yeah,
guess
I
we'll
can
probably
be
start
there.
with that. You can?
I can be there as well.
What day of the week is that, do we know?
I believe it's a Wednesday.
And is that somewhere close to Thanksgiving? I don't know.
I think it's
the
the
week
Wednesday
after.
after, yeah.
The Wednesday after.
I can try. I think I'm gonna have family in the house. But that's fine. You will probably have, everybody will, I'm sure. It's the Wednesday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, all right. Is that something that we can kind of coordinate, going back and forth with you in terms of who can be there and
Because we'll have to have it so I need that outline finalized back to me. If we decide to go forward for that meeting, then we need to have it in a week before.
to submit the document to them? Okay. I intend to have it done over the weekend, so you'll have it to start of next week, yeah.
I just want to tell you, I can only begin to think about the amount of time you put into this and how well you've coordinated. I appreciate it a lot. And the whole board has worked well together. And we're not done by any stretch of the imagination, but you guys are good. Well, and it's hard. I mean, you meet once a month and you kind of forgot what you talked about the last time.
That's why it gets so painful if a meeting has to be
And
canceled.
we all,
You're like,
well, and we all say the same thing together in a different way, but we end up at a place where we can agree, which is a good thing.
Absolutely. Okay, looking at the agenda, we've got item B, the Natural Resources Board. So so we don't have to approve any name. Do we have to have a voice vote or anything for the actual outline?
No.
Okay. So item B, under old business, the role of Natural Resources Board, guest speaker schedule, we kind of discussed that already, that we have two people coming up, one from Ocean Friendly and one from Litter Quitter. Any member matters for number 8? Anyone? Charles?
Unrelated to what we're doing here with sustainable business, I think we have the Sebastian Christmas Parade coming up.
I was just gonna find a place to slide it in there, that we need to decide if we wanted to participate.
Yes, and a couple things we want to remember this year. I don't know who participated last year. And we want to make sure we have transportation at the other end.
We can arrange that with the city. I can leave CD1 over there and.
Yeah, or anybody has a personal car, want to park over there and be brought back to this end, because we walk. The council will ride the golf carts. We walk, and we'll walk with a banner. And everybody needs like a little flashlight or something that has lights on it. We'll have to make sure it's working. And, but we just want to make sure we got transportation, and we want to know where we end at. Last year, we just walked off the field.
I have the new one here.
Yeah, it was like, doo-doo-doo. But that's all I was wanting to bring up. I didn't know what day it was.
I guess I'm confused. This board walks in the Christmas
Yeah, we walk
parade?
with, that's one of the things
It's
we're allowed to
voluntary.
participate
How did I
in.
miss that?
We go right with the city council. We were right there with them. They're riding, and we are actually shaking hands with
Being
everybody.
environmentally friendly and we're walking.
Yeah.
Rose
How do
is,
people know who you are?
We have a big banner that says, "We
Yeah,
are
we
a
have a
natural
banner.
Wear our
resource
shirts,
board."
so you'll get a
Plus,
shirt.
It'll be just getting dark. We'll have our flashlights and our banners lit up.
yeah,
And it's lit up
Rose delivered me
pretty
the
good.
lights, the battery-powered lights for
Yeah,
that.
we'll get a
so.
little bit better light this year, and we'll know where we're supposed to end, because I'm still wondering if the parade knew not to follow us.
It says it ends at
We
Riverview
walked right
Park.
off, we're like, we don't know.
And does it start up by?
Begins at Main Street, ends at Riverview Park,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
and goes down Any River Drive.
And we are talking to everybody.
I can send this out to
All the kids
everyone.
will come up.
Okay, what day is it?
December 1st at 6
Oh.
p.m.
Oh,
So good thing we brought this up.
yeah, I have a conflict there. I have, unfortunately.
My best friend's daughter's wedding. I can't get out of that.
I can be there.
All right, that's two, we need at least three.
Maybe me, I'm not sure yet.
Okay, now just be sure that you can walk
My
that
knees hurt
mile and a
thinking
half.
about it.
There was some board members who didn't do it, and the other board members that did, it was a long walk, walking down all the way, because you go past Riverside Park where the parade does, and then you come all the way back, so.
Depends on the weather, right?
Yes, it's, we were huffing and puffing, and the gentleman that I was with, was the other, he was in your position before, and you were pretty tired. And, you remember him, yeah, and, it's quite exciting, it's something to be, it promotes our natural resource board to the community. It's one of the few chances we get to really interact. The kids will be really excited. We are actually the first people they see next to the city council. We're the real first people that they'll interact. They really think Santa should be with us. So that's who they're expecting, but it's the Natural Resource Board.
So we'll have to try and reach out to, because that will be before the next meeting. Maybe we
Yeah.
can reach out to Jason to see if he's able to make it as well. Okay. All right. And any other member matters?
I went to the Captain Planet's presentation at the Periodola Brewing. A very interesting presentation in regards to invasive species, phosphorus in our content of our natural soils. Some really interesting stuff, but we'll talk about that when we're working on our gardening, our sustainability program. Not the business program, the other one.
Okay.
Plants, native plants.
Yeah, the landscaping
plant
ordinance.
ordinance.
Has there been any updates from the organization that was supposed to be revamping those?
Oh, it was budgeted for this year that we would get an advisor that would help, rewrite a few of the ordinances, and that's one of them that's due. And at this point, we haven't retained anyone. Fiscal year is just starting, so. And I really don't know the plan on that. But I have all of our notes, and I've inserted them into my book of ordinances, like Post-its all in there of all of our notes everywhere. So hopefully I'll get the chance to sit down with them and approach all of I assume that I will.
Okay, all right, sounds great. Okay, then we'll move on to items for the next agenda. So December 4th, we'll certainly be looking at the Sustainable Business Initiative and potentially with updates from the City Council, if we're able to do that. And I think, so the Earth Day and Arbor Day celebrations start to kind of assign tasks and figure out who's doing what and how we want to split that up.
Rose said she'll send us all the files.
Okay.
So why don't you just keep them and do it? And
Yeah, she was pretty instrumental. Okay, all right, so it sounds like we have a plan for next month. We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have to move?
Motion to adjourn?
I second the emotion.
All those in
No,
favor?
motion, the emotion.
Aye, okay, we are adjourned.
I second that emotion.